The smith's daughter came on well till she bore a babe son. She gave him the name of Conall mac Rai Erin. She nourished him well and right well. When speech came and he could walk well, she took him with her on a wet, misty day to the mountain amongst high moors and forests. She left him there astray to make out a way for himself, and she went home. He did not know in the world what he should do, as he did not know where to go, but he found a finger of a road. He followed the road. What should he see but a little hut at the evening of the day at the wayside? He went into the hut. There was no man within. He let himself down at the fireside. There he was, till a woman came at the end of the night, and she had 6 sheep. She saw a great slip of a man beside the fire, who seemed to be a fool. She took great wonder when she saw him, and she said that he had better go out of that, and go down to the king's house, and that he would get something amongst the servants in the kitchen. He said he would not go, but if she would give him something that he might eat, that he would go to herd the sheep for herself. What should be the name of the woman but Caomhag Gentle? If I thought that, I would give thee meat and drink, said she. On the morrow, he went away with the sheep. I have not a bite of grass for them, said she, but a road, and thou shalt keep them at the edge of the road, and thou shalt not let them off it. At the time of night he came home with them. On the morrow, he went away with the sheep. There were near to the place where he was with them 3 fields of wheat that belonged to 3 gentlemen. The sheep were wearing him out. He went and he levelled the dike, and he let them in from one to the other, till they had eaten the 3 fields. On a day of days, the 3 gentlemen gathered. When they came, he had let the fields be eaten by the sheep. Who art thou, thou hast eaten the fields? It was not I that ate them at all, it was the sheep that ate them. We will not be talking to him at all, he is but a fool. We will reach Caomhag to see if the sheep are hers. They reached Caomhag. They took her with them to the court. This was the first court that Fergus had made after he got the crown. The kings had a heritage at that time. When they did not know how to split justice properly, the judgment seat would begin to kick, and the king's neck would take a twist when he did not do justice as he ought. I can make nothing of it, said the king, but that they should have the tooth that did the damage. The judgment seat would begin to kick, and the king's neck took a turn. Come here, one of you, and loose me. Try if you can do justice better than that. Though there were thousands within, none would go in the king's place. They would not give the king such bad respect, as that any one of them would go before him. Is there a man that will loose me? There is not, unless the herd of Caomhag himself will loose thee. Caomhag's herd was set down. Loose for me, my little hero, and do justice as it should be done, and let me out of this. Nor right nor justice will I do before I get something that I may eat. Then he got something which he ate. What justice didst thou do thyself? Said he. I did but doom the tooth that did the damage to be theirs. What was in the way that thou didst not give death to Caomhag? This is what I would do. Caomhag has 6 sheep, and though the 6 sheep were taken from her, they would not pay the gentleman. Caomhag will have 6 lambs, the gentleman shall have the 6 lambs, and she herself shall have the sheep to keep. The turn went out of the king's neck. He went away, and they did not ask who he was, and he got no scathe. There was another gentleman, and he had a horse, and he sent him to a smithy to be shod. The smith had a young son and a nurse under the child. What should it be but a fine day, and it was without that the horse was being shod, and she never saw a horse shod before. And she went out to see the shoeing of the horse. She sat opposite to the horse, and he took the nail and the shoe, and he did not hit the hoof with the nail, but he put it in the flesh, and the horse struck the child, and drove the cup of his head off. They had but to go to justice again to the king, and the justice the king made for them was that the leg should be taken off the horse. The judgment seat began to kick again, and the king's neck took a twist. The herd of Caomhag was there, and they asked him to loose the king. He said that he would not do a thing till he should first get something to eat. He got that. He went where the king was. What law didst thou make? The leg to be taken off the horse. That will not pay the smith. Send hither to me the groom that broke the horse, and the gentleman to whom he belongs. Send over here the smith and the nurse. The gentleman and the groom came. Well then, my gentleman, didst thou make this groom break this horse as he should? The groom said that he had done that as well as he knew how to do it. No more could be asked of thee. Well, smith, didst thou give an order to the nurse to stay within without coming out of her chamber? I did not give it, said the smith, but she might do as she chose herself. My gentleman, said he, since thou art best kept, I will put 1/3 of the eric of the smith's son on thee, and another 1/3 on the smith himself, because he did not measure the nail before he put it to use, and another third on the nurse and the groom because she did not stay within in her chamber, and in case he left some word or other untaught to the horse. The gentleman went away and the smith. The judgment seat stopped, and she hadn't a kick. The turn came out of the king's neck, and they let him go as usual. Said the king, "If he has travelled over the universe and the world, there is a drop of king's blood in that lad. He could not split the law so well as that if it were not in him. Let the 3 best heroes I have go, and let them bring me his head." They went after him. He gave a glance from him, and what should he see coming but they came where he was. "Where are you going?" "We are going to kill thyself. The king sent us to thee." "Well then, that was but a word that came into his mouth, and it is not worth your while to kill me." "He is but a fool," said they. "Since he sent you to kill me, why don't you kill me?" "Wilt thou thyself kill thyself, my little hero?" said they. "How shall I kill myself?" "Here's for thee a sword, and strike it on thee about the neck, and cast the head off thyself," said they. He seized on the sword and gave it a twirl in his fist. "Fall to killing thyself, my little hero." "Begone," said he, "and return home, and do not hide from the king that you did not kill me." "Well then, give me the sword," said one of them. "I will not give it. There are not in Erin as many as will take it from my fist," said he. They went and they returned home. As he was going by himself, he said, "I was not born without a mother, and I was not begotten without a father. I have no mind of ever coming to Erin, and I know that it was in Erin I was born. I will not leave a house in which there is smoke or fire in Erin till I know who am." He went to the Ubhar. What was it but a fine warm day? Whom did he see but his mother washing? He was coming to a sort of understanding, so that he was thinking that it was his mother who was there. He went behind her, and he put his hand on her breast. "Indeed," said he, "a foster son of thy right breast am I." She gave her head a toss. "Thy like of a tar-laid drudge I never had as a son or a foster son. My left hand is behind thy head, and a sword in my right hand, and I will strike off thy head unless thou tell me who I am. Still be thy hand, Conall, son of the king of Erin. I knew myself I was that, and that there was a drop of the blood of a king's son in me. But who killed my father? Fergus killed him, and a loss as great as thy father was slain on the same day. That was Boyne Brett, son of the king of Alba." "Who slew Boyne Brett?" "It is a brother of Fergus, whom they call Lach and Lyde." "And where is that man dwelling?" "He could not get a bit on the land of Erin when once he had slain Boyne Brett. He went to the hills, and he made him a cos in the forest amongst Wheelabiaste, monsters and untamed creatures." "Who kept my father's arms?" "It is I. Go fetch them and bring them hither to me." She brought them. He went and put the arms on him, and they became him as well as though they had been made for himself. "I eat not a bit, and I drink not a draught, and I make no stop but this night until I reach where that man is, wheresoever he may be." He passed that night where he was. In the morning on the morrow he went away. He went on till there was black upon his soles and holes in his shoes. The white clouds of day were going, and the black clouds of night coming, and without his finding a place of staying or rest for him. There he saw a great wood. He made a cos in one of the trees above in which he might stay that night. In the morning, on the morrow, he cast a glance from him. What should he see but the very Uil Beheist, whose like was never seen under the sun, stretched without clothing, without foot coverings or head covering, hair and beard gone over him. He thought, though he should go down, that he could not do for him. He put an arrow in a croix, and he fired at him. He struck him with it on the right forearm, and the one who was below gave a start. "Move not a sinew of thy sinews, nor a vein of thy veins, nor a bit of thy flesh, nor a hair of thy locks, till thou promise to see me a king over Erin, or I will send down of slender oaken darts enough to sow thee to the earth." The Uilabais did not give him yielding for that. He went and he fired again, and he struck him in the left forearm. "Did I not tell thee before, not to stir a vein of thy veins, nor a bit of thy flesh, nor a hair of thy locks, till thou shouldst promise to see me king over Erin? Come down then, and I will see thyself or myself that before this time tomorrow night." He came down. "If I had known that it was thy like of a drudge that should dictate thus to me, I would not do it for thee for anything. But since I promised thee, I will do it, and we will be going." They went to the palace of the king. They shouted battle or combat to be sent out, or else the head of Fergus, or himself a captive. Battle and combat they should get, and not his head at all, and they could not get himself a captive. There were sent out 400 swift heroes, 400 full heroes, and 400 strong heroes. They began at them. The one could not put from the other's hand as they were killed. They shouted battle or combat again, or else the head of Fergus to be sent out, or himself a captive. It is battle and combat thou shalt have, and not at all my head, and no more shalt thou get myself a captive. There were sent out 1,200 swift heroes, 1,200 full heroes, and 1,200 stout heroes. The one could not put from the other's hand as they killed of them. They shouted battle and combat, or else the head of Fergus, or himself a captive. Battle and combat they should have, and not the head of Fergus at all, nor himself a captive. There were sent out 400 score to them. The one could not put from the other as they killed. They shouted battle and combat. Those who are without, said Fergus, are so hard to please that they will take but my head, and unless they get it, they will kill all there are in Erin and myself after them. Take one of you a head from one of those who were slain, and when Lochinlaid comes and asks my head or myself a captive, give it to him, and he will think it is my head. The head was given to Lochinlaid. He went where Conall was with it. What hast thou there? Said Conall. The head of Fergus. That is not the head of Fergus yet. I saw him a shorter time than thyself, but turn and bring hither to me the head of Fergus. Lochinlaid returned. Let another go to meet him in the king's stead, and say that it is his head he shall get, not himself a captive. This one went to meet Lochinlaid. He seized him and took the head out of his neck. He reached Conall. What hast thou there? The head of Fergus. That is not the head of Fergus yet. Turn and bring to me the head of Fergus. Lochinlaid returned. The one who is without is so watchful, and the other is so blind, that there is no man in Erin but they will kill unless they get myself. Where art thou going, Lochinlaid? Said Fergus. I am going to seek thy head or thyself as a captive. It's my head thou shalt get, and not myself as a captive. But what kindness art thou giving thy brother? The kindness that thou gavest thyself to me, I will give it to thee. He took the head out of his neck, and he took it with him. He came where Conall was. What hast thou there? The head of Fergus. It is not. Truly it is. Let me see it. He gave it to him. He drew it, and he struck him with it, and he made 2 heads of the one. Then they began at each other. They would make a bog on the rock, and a rock on the bog. In the place where the least they would sink to the knees. In the place where the most they would sink to the eyes. Conall thought it would be ill for him to fall after he had got so near the matter. He drew his sword, and he threw the head off Lochinlaid. Now I am king over Erin, as I myself had a right to be. He took his mother and her father from the Ubhar, and took them to the palace, and his race were in it till the 9th knee. The last one was choked as a babe, with a splinter of bone that went crosswise into his throat, and another tribe came in on Erin.
I hope you all enjoyed that. If you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you're interested in reading my own work, the Mothman Reborn comic book is available on Amazon, along with my other book, How to Make a Monster, The Slenderfoot Story. I'm trying to create my own universe full of monsters and legends. If that is something you are interested in, a link will be in the description below.